Good morning, and welcome to the Unitarian Universalist Church of Urbana-Champaign. My name is Reverend Sally Fritchie, and I am the Associate Minister of this congregation. I am so glad to be here with you all, streaming live from our sanctuary here on Green Street. We still ask that everyone in our sanctuary remain masked because we want to be able to welcome young kids and others not able to be vaccinated into our worship space every week. You were invited when you arrived to grab a color-coded lanyard, red for if you feel cautious of being in shared space and want to maintain maximum distance, green for if you feel okay about things like hugging and handshakes, yellow for anywhere in between. Please look around and be aware of the comfort level and boundaries of those around you. We'll be in our fellowship hall after the service for coffee and cake, which means that folks will be eating and drinking, masks optional, in there after the service. We are gathered today to celebrate 3 graduating members of our youth group. And in our celebration of their bridging from youth to young adulthood, we also honor the cycle of the year and the ongoing life of the entire community. For many of us, I know it can feel like these 2 pandemic years have been frozen in time, holding still, just waiting to go back to normal. But these young people and all the ways they have grown and changed remind us that life has carried on regardless, irrepressibly transforming 3 small children into independent and clever and cool and very tall adults. Rowan and Celia and Demetrius. I grew up UU, and I know that being a young person in a multi-generational community means often being seen as a symbol of the future, of hope, of better days, and I know that it isn't always the most comfortable thing to be a symbol. So I hope today you're able to feel the love being expressed by those who know you for the person you are, and the kid you were, and who love you for just being you. And I hope, because any good ritual does involve symbolism, when we ask you to step into that symbolic role, you're able to feel the power of it and not just the burden. Our shared future is important, and you are an important part of it. Come, let us all gather together, whether you're here in the sanctuary, watching live from home, or tuning into the recording weeks later. Let us be here together. This congregation chooses to begin every Sunday with a formal acknowledgement of the indigenous nations of this land. It's a practice that connects us to this specific place and moment in history. It helps us be here in our responsibilities as stewards and members of a wider community. Here on Green Street, we worship on the land of the Kickapoo, the Peoria, the Miamiwa, and the Sioux. And these are peoples who still exist today and who are still committed to a continued struggle for survival and self-determination. So wherever you are this morning, I invite you to take a breath and consider the history and peoples of the land you are resting on. May we always remember where we are. Remember the sacredness of this place and the many people and peoples who belong to it. As Unitarian Universalists, we begin our gatherings by lighting a flaming chalice, symbol of our tradition, the flame of hope and vision in the cup of sharing. Our chalice lighting words this morning are written by Unitarian Universalist minister, Reverend Christian Schmidt, and Director of Religious Education, Alexis Capon. We light this chalice for our children and youth, and for us, celebrating the flame of faith lit in each of us, honoring the light each of us brings into the world, rejoicing in the community we create together. And now I invite you to stand if standing is comfortable for you and join in singing a favorite hymn, number 1064 in the Teal hymnal, Blue Boat Home.
Though below me I feel no motion, standing on these mountains and plains, far away from the rolling ocean, still my dry land heart can say, I've been sailing all my life now, never harbor or port have I known. The wide universe is the ocean I travel, and the earth is my blue boat home. Sun, my sail, and moon, my rudder, as I ply the starry sea, leaning over the edge in wonder, casting questions into the deep, drifting here with my ship's companions, all we kindred pilgrim souls, making our way by the lights of the heavens in our beautiful blue boat home. I give thanks to the waves upholding me, hail the great wind surging me on, greet the infinite sea before me, sing the sky my sailor's song. I was born upon the fathoms, never harbor or port have I known. The wide universe is the ocean I travel, and the earth is my blue boat home.
Good morning. So, I think I was about 14 when I first learned that the majority of youth who are raised in the church don't end up coming back to it as adults. I've heard it called the bridge to nowhere. I didn't really think about it applying to me until last fall when I was figuring out college decisions. I was fortunate enough to do it fairly early, so I got that out of the way. And I realized that the town I'm heading off to, it's fairly rural, it's pretty small, does not have a UU congregation. So I wouldn't have an in-person physical church community to attend. I just didn't really think any of the other churches in town would be a good fit for me. I started to get a little bit nervous. I was like, uh-oh, I'm gonna be that 88% or whatever it is. I figured I might leave it all behind as I crossed the border from Illinois to Missouri. What if I don't know, I went to college and suddenly, academia was my church and I completely forgot about UUism. I tried to put it out of my mind, that was a lot of months ago, and I mostly succeeded until I sat down to write this reflection. And it crossed my mind that this could sort of be the last service I attend. I did not like the sound of that. Because like many people my age, I think this is true for my fellow graduates today, I can't really remember a time before I went to church, this church specifically, although I also went to a UU church when I was like, I don't know, 2. And I was born into a household that was already being guided by Unitarian, Universalist, and humanist principles. When we moved here from Ohio, the first thing my mom did after we got settled was try to find a church community, and we were lucky enough to find this one, even though I did not like RE at first. And so as I thought about it more, I started to realize that the impression that UUism has had on me and my life is just too profound to be ignored and left behind just because I go away to college. Even if I don't have this in-person church community, it's not something that I can just leave at the door. At church throughout the years, I've made friends, been exposed to new ideas, had passionate, sometimes disastrous theological discussions, practiced public speaking, and, we all know, sung hymns, sung This Little Light of Mine too many times with the children's choir. And I've adored that, but in so many ways, the connection I have to this church is even deeper than that. It almost feels like my birthright that I was raised to believe in the inherent worth and dignity of every person and the interdependent web of existence we're all so crazy about. And beyond that, I realized that having this church community as a place where I was valued as an individual, yes, and because people got to know me, but also because I was just another UU. As soon as you walk in the door, anonymous, people are willing to support you. They're ready to lend out a coffee maker or volunteer for meals with the Care Corps or give you a ride to a doctor's appointment. And there's something about that unconditional community love that I really hadn't gotten anywhere else growing up. My neighborhood isn't that close. So this community, having that unconditional support from the moment you walk in the door, I think that's affected me and shaped the way that I will want to live my life in the future. And whether that means finding a church community, which I hope I do, I hope I find my way back to in-person church communities, or finding a community somewhere else, I know that will stick with me, and it's not something I can leave behind at the border between Missouri and Illinois. So I guess I just want to thank everyone here that I know and everyone here I don't know, because no matter what, you guys have contributed to this community that I feel like has affected me so deeply and that has shaped my life and will continue to shape my life. So thank you, and the impact of this church will stay with me, and I don't think I will be a bridger to nowhere.
Celia, I look forward to hearing your stories when you come home on summertime. So hopefully we'll hear all kinds of things from you in the future. Your folks will be telling us how things are going. But thank you for your thumbprint that I know has impacted this church and changed its nature in your own way forever. But thank you for your words. Thank you. Good morning, everybody. It's been a heavy week in our world, and it's good that we take this time each Sunday. It's a heavy year, heavy decade. It's a heavy world, and it's good we take time to bring our individual joys and sorrows and concerns to our time together, and to bring what weighs on our hearts for the wider world. So please bring to mind the joys and sorrows in your life and what weighs on your spirit. What burdens of the wider world weigh on you? In a moment, we will sing our blessing song, and we invite you to tune in as we'll share after.
May the long time sun shine upon shine upon you. All love surround you, and the pure, pure light that's within you guide your way home.
I wanted this week, I just needed to be close to y'all. And so for our joys and sorrows, I wanted to come closer to the congregation. We're in this together, and there's been so much heartbreak in our world. So here I am. I invite us first to come into a time of centering quietness. Let us nudge the inner workings of our mind to calm and to seek a peaceful place deep within. We might soften our gaze or close our eyes. Slow our breathing down and lower our shoulders. Allow ourselves to go deeper. As Celia mentioned, as someone who was a child herself, growing up, understanding the web of existence, it is a phenomenal and powerful imagery of what I believe is reality, and I know many here do too, that we are part of an interdependent web of existence, stretching through the universe, a web that is unfathomably expansive and strong, a web that holds all of existence and all that is our lives, that connects us together more intricately than the roots of the tree grow deep under the soil. And so whether you are here in this building, this church this morning, or at home or watching later, I invite you to imagine, if you can, the burdens of your hearts shifted and lifted just that much, knowing that they are held by our community, that you are not alone, and held by this web of life and love that is the ground of all being. And as now we receive the expressed joys and sorrows of our community, I invite those who wish to share an embodied response to do so in these ways, which is something do. For joys or sorrows, if we feel so led, we can put our hands over our hearts, which biochemically does things, which I think is phenomenal. And for joys and celebrations, if you feel so led, we can do spirit fingers, wiggle them around. You're invited, as you're comfortable, to open your eyes and join me with this. With our cards, Gail Cohen, continue blessings to Kathy Robinson. Keep fighting. I've only talked to Kathy on the phone, and I fell in love with her at hello. If you haven't ever met her, just you hear this. Even if you haven't met her, our thoughts now make a difference. Our thoughts for healing, our visualizations impact. I really believe that. So let's join in this moment as we think of Kathy Robinson, those of us who know her personally and those who have never met her. It matters. It impacts. I believe that. Christine Cahill, my joy of officially retiring after 20 years as a school librarian. And then it says it's dimmed by the tragedy in Texas. What a week to retire. So we have, as Jenny's spirit fingers, but we have over our heart. It's breathtaking. I know we have some, and pardon me as I break out my phone and our good multi-platform tradition. Catherine Ritchie shared, a cherished Texas friend of several decades. This is spirit fingers and a heart one. She gave birth to her first child at the age of 40. Her son, a Texas native, was born 2 hours after over 20 other Texans lost their lives senselessly to gunfire. This juxtaposition of fortunes is so sad and ironic, it leaves me speechless. And Catherine, you say that very well. Thank you. Here's all spirit fingers. Joy for Janet. This is from Sam Bashir's, and I joined Sam in this, whose leadership has been so important for the worship committee. She's been our chair. She tutored me from day one. I'm really grateful to her. Her organization, intellect, creativity, and style and grace will be missed as she brings these same qualities to the ministerial search team. So those that don't know this, she's shifting. We have many in our church. It's a constant shifting. Our congregation is a mosaic, a kaleidoscope of energy and love and power that shifts, and the colors change, and the beauty shifts from vision and vista to vision and vista. Let me just do a double check. I found out I skipped some last week. Can't do that. Aha. Yes. Sam Bashir's joy for the wedding last weekend of our son Max to Dan Forbush. Yes. And for getting to know members of their queer community in Chicago, the joy they bring to the world, and the many ways they are making a difference. From Sam and Lynn. Absolutely. Another joy. Joy, congratulations, of course, to all grads, and a special thank you to our dear cousin Rose and all of our friends and loved ones for being able to attend all the festivities. Yes, and say, in this moment, can we spirit fingers for these guys right here, our grads? Oh my God, yes, you guys can say, no way, but we're doing it anyway, you know? Really, you guys bring life and love and passion and spirit to our congregation, and your imprint stays with us. Let's see here. Let's see. I don't know about you, but I get a couple emails a day. Does anyone else get a lot of emails? I want to make sure I don't miss any. Joys and sorrows that we share as a community is sacred. It's vital that we're in tune with each other. And that being said, we know there are those that are too tender, too personal, we're not ready to share in this context. But if you send them in and would like them shared in the e-news, or if you ever like them shared just with the ministers, we will be very glad to receive them. I know I carry them with me through the week. I have no doubt Reverend Sally does the same. They matter the world to us. I wanted to share this week's school shooting in Texas. A lot of people are feeling angry and sad and depressed and fearful. I know I am. I know you are too. And no one is above these natural human emotions. It's part of our response to such unbearable, unthinkable. And it means that we care, and it means that we want things to be better. We want things to be kinder. We want things to be safer. And in stressful moments like these, it's important to remember that it's okay to feel what we feel. And more accurately, it's important to feel what we feel. If we don't, then we bottle it up, and it can become increasingly toxic in the energy that react to, and we might even divide us from others, and we can get a kind of an exhaustion. So we're taking time here in church to have a moment of healing and feeling together. Here are some ways I invite you now and in the weeks to come to be mindful about what you feel, even as we work to continue to survive and recover our resilience from the past couple years. How does this anger feel in my head or my belly? If anger is what you're in tune with. How can I express it in a healthy way, either verbally or written? How can I help create real change without hatred or bitterness? How does this sadness feel around the heart? How can I cry without judging myself, or without judging the sadness to be right or wrong? How does this depression feel? Can I be curious about its sensations? Am I capable of meeting it without judgment? Am I capable of asking for some help from others or from myself? And how does this fear feel inside? So many of our teachers, our students, I think we're all a little afraid, but so many are on the front lines, and our world has shifted this week. How can I allow it to be a little more without hiding from it? How can I be more gentle with myself? For some of us, the challenge may not be how we do this, but when we do this, especially those with children at home. It can feel messy to do this kind of mindfulness practice while at the office or the supermarket or home with kids. However, whenever, wherever, I encourage each of you, each one here within my voice range, to be sure you take time to take care of yourself, okay? We are at war at so many levels in different ways in our world, and we are peacemakers, and we need to survive and be strong and keep our courage. It is only when we're able to reach out to others with so much needs in the world around us without burning out ourselves. So we take care of ourselves so we're able to do this. And I'd like to share these words before we close for our music of meditation. You may have heard this before. Why is it so important we not burn out? For the quality of our lives, but because the world needs this congregation to be at its best also. Never underestimate the power of a small group of committed people to change the world. In fact, it is the only thing that ever has. Margaret Mead. The world needs this church. There's work for us to do. So take good care of yourselves. And now let us please take these next moments of quiet meditation to find your own words, to ask for what you need, to simply breathe and rest. Afterwards, we will have the pleasure of hearing from Logan, and I'll introduce Logan before she continues after our music for meditation. And now some quiet space and music. It's quite a moment to come up here like this, to be on TV, to be with, and I don't even have my mom and dad in the audience or others that I'm related to, but it's so important. And we're ready to receive what you have to bring. Rowan, come on up. And know that our hearts are open, our minds are eager. Just be you, and it'll be wonderful.
Hello. Hi. So I don't remember a time before being in this church. I know that I was baptized somewhere else and that my family attended a different church before this one, but this is the only church I ever remember going to. The first time I was ever up on this stage, other than sitting up here for the story that used to be read at the beginning of every service, I was playing a sheep in the Christmas pageant. And I crawled on the ground up the aisle. The most recent time I presented something to this congregation, I was 13, giving my statement of faith at the end of my coming of age year. I'm going to honestly say that I have no memory of what I said my approach towards faith was at the time, but I've changed a lot since I was 13, and I was even more fake deep back then, so it's probably best not to keep dredging it up. What I can say, though, is that this church community has been one of the few consistent forces in my life throughout my child and young adulthood. Throughout the process of growing up, you go to different schools, do different extracurriculars, get jobs, and meet many new people. Of course, through all of this, there are friends and family members who stay with you for essentially your whole life, but there are also so many opportunities to present a new version of yourself to people who have no previous experiences with you to judge you on. This church for me is more like those lifelong friends and family. From my extremely shrill and disruptive performances with the children's choir, to my phase of refusing to wear anything other than sweatpants ever, to my rage-filled early and also late high school years, this church has seen me at every wonderful, horrible, awkward, and exploratory stage. It has taught me about the different global cultures years before I would have learned them in school, and fostered a communal environment where everyone is part of something greater than themselves that has lasted for all of the years that I have been attending it. It is undeniable that these last 2 years have impacted our church community, but I believe that this group of people that accepted me with open arms, no matter how ornery or argumentative I was about whatever we were learning in RE, signing the book, or having to sit quietly for 5 hours in the woods, which I did in its entirety. I believe that this community can withstand the pressure of this pandemic. I am not a very religious person, and when people learn that I go to church, they're often very surprised. For a long time, I would qualify any anecdote I was telling that involved my church with, "It's not really a church." Not wanting people to think I was some sort of religious fanatic, or even worse, someone who actually believed in things. In recent years, though, I've stopped this immediate reflexive distancing. Most people in my life learn that I'm not religious quickly anyways, and I definitely wear my political views on my sleeve, sometimes literally. And regardless, I don't want to hide the part of me that this community has fostered from any other people in my life. Coming to this church has made me a more caring, passionate, kind person, and opened my world to people and experiences I simply would not have had without it. Even though it's just once a week, I really can't imagine my life without the group of people that this church has brought into it. In last year's bridging ceremony, Reverend Florence said that kids who are raised UU are special. And apart from making me feel very special, it also made me feel very deeply how much this church has meant to me over the course of my life. I want to thank all the UU adults who have encouraged me, taught me, and supported me into becoming the young, radical Unitarian Universalist that I have. I won't be here next year to give that energy back to this church, but I hope to bring it with me when I go and continue to model this communal behavior, respect, and caring this church has modeled for me throughout my life as a UU adult. Thank you.
Thank you, Rowan. Thank you for the laughs. And also, I feel like there's not a dry eye in the house right now. So if you haven't found the tissues out there, they are floating amongst you. We, as Unitarian Universalists, acknowledge that our circle of care doesn't stop at our church doors. We are deeply connected to the community we find ourselves in and to the wider world. A big heartfelt thank you to Hospitality Team B members and our co-leaders, Linda Collinsworth and Emily Laugesen, for providing our decorations and serving as welcomers, door greeters, ushers, and fellowship hour hosts, and a world of other things we ask of you for our worship services during the month of May. In June, we will be welcoming Hospitality Team A. Please join us today immediately after service for fellowship hour, where we can continue our celebration and you can offer personal congratulations to our bridging youth. Please note that 2 of our youth do need to leave to make it on their senior trip today. So maybe throw congratulations at them and clear a path to the cake so that they can grab some cake and make it on time. Each Sunday, in recognition of our very real interdependence and reliance on each other, we pass the plate and share our offering with an organization doing the work of justice in the world. For the month of May, we are splitting our collections 50-50 with the Lakota People's Law Project, an organization that works to amplify Indigenous voices, safeguard human rights, protect sacred lands and waters, and promote sustainability. Supporting their efforts is one way we can live into our commitments as members of this wider, interconnected community. You can give by text or through the online portal on our website, or if you're here with us in the sanctuary, the basket will be passed, and checks can be made out to Unitarian Universalist Church of Urbana-Champaign. We invite you to give whatever is generous for you, and know that anything you contribute will be gratefully received and put to use, helping make a real impact for people who need it. The offering will now be taken.
Hello. For those who don't know me, I'm Demetrius Urban, and I'm in the process of adulting. I've been up here to speak a couple times in the past, all of those with the concrete theme I actually understood, such as the horrors of technology or music. Reflecting about the extremely long life I've lived is a little bit more foreign to me. Let's start from the beginning. So last week I learned the reason my family first joined the UU. My family's not originally from the Midwest. We actually moved up here from the South, Mobile, Alabama, when I was 7 years old. We left some relatives in the South, but most of our relatives were in like the Northeast, like Pennsylvania. By joining the UU, my parents wanted me and my brother to have new grandparents, or, oopsie, not new grandparents. They wanted us to talk to older people who would work to enrich our experiences. Because our real grandparents were half the country away. Through the coming of age program, Sam Bashirs became my grandparent figure. Sam was my mentor for the year, but even after the class ended, he continued the mentor-mentee relationship with me, all the way up to now. To my friends, I described the UU as that hippie church. Or a church, but not really like a church. Since you can believe whatever you want to, it's like more like a gathering, but like still a church, and like we have a minister, but no, it's not a church. No matter how bad I am at describing the UU has really become a part of who I am. Or, no, let me rephrase this. This UU has become a part of who I am. As I go off to college in Minnesota, I have to think about whether or not I will continue going to UU at all. I'm going to St. Olaf, and right outside, there's this tiny little UU church. If I continue going to UU in college, not only will I be entering a new congregation I don't know, I'll be playing an unfamiliar part. Up until now, I've only been one of the youth who's with the family. Now I will be a young adult who's independent. Even though I'm not sure if I will go to UU in college, I will always be UU. I know that I can always come back, that there will always be a home for me here. Thank you, everyone, for making UU such a wonderful experience for me.
Thank you, Demetrius and Rowan and Celia. I had the privilege of being with you in your freshman year and making those T-shirts with you, and I was pleased to be invited to play a song that I wrote. And it's a song about growing up in a complicated world, and I think it's kind of unfair that you had to grow up during COVID.
that we all had to grow up during COVID. And this song is about growing up in a complicated world and being able to face challenges with the support of family and community. So thanks for being in our community.
Oh, Mama, come into my arms. I am grown, but relatively unharmed. I may have a bruise, a few scratches on my heart. But how can I lose with a love like ours? And don't worry, Papa, don't be afraid. This world can be rough on us, but I'm really okay. The mountains may burn, the seas may rise, but strong hearts still catch like wildfire flies. And sister, if you're feeling low, like this ship is sinking and there's nowhere to go, rest your weary mind on my melody. We go down, we'll go down together in harmony. Oh, Mama, come into my arms.
My heart. Can't believe I have to talk after this. Thank you, Emily. All right, Celia, Rowan, Demetrius, I invite you all to join me up here. And I invite everyone else to turn to the back of your order of service where you will find some shared words for a litany of commitment to our youth here. Sure. All right, don't stand behind me. Also, I know it's weird being up here, everyone's looking at you, but try and look out at these faces because they are beaming so much love at you right now, and I hope you can feel it. All right, childhood is ending and the world beckons, the journey outward to new adventures.
We offer these blessings to you, that you may know that wherever your life takes you, the teachings of this faith will support you, and the blessings of this congregation are with you.
Any young people or those who have been involved in the youth program? These next lines are yours. Now, any young adults? And now everyone. Thank you. All right, now you have to stay up here, but you won't need your scripts anymore. You are cherished here, not just for what you symbolize, but for who you are right now. The world is full of people who walk away from their childhood religion and never look back. In fact, this room is full of people who did some version of that at some point. And here, as Unitarian Universalists, we welcome the wide open possibilities that lie before you. This is not a bridge to nowhere, but a bridge to everywhere, to everything. And well, I've told you my story before. I bridged out of my own childhood congregation and enjoyed many years with no Sunday obligations other than brunch. So I need you to hear this promise, that no matter what the other side of this bridge looks like for you, regardless of whether you feel like a UU in 1 year's time or in 5 or 20 years, you will always have a home here. There will always be a place for you in our pews, a candle for you on Christmas Eve, a flower for you at flower communion, a spot for you on a volunteer committee. You will always, always have a home here. Now, we don't have a physical bridge in the sanctuary for you to cross over. So in a minute, after a few more words of blessing, we're going to have you three move from up here down through a tunnel of pool noodles in the center aisle, arching over you in a beautiful rainbow. And then you'll find your seats out amongst the congregation, no longer singled out, but simply three among many UUs. So I invite everyone to stand now, if standing is comfortable, and if you have a pool noodle, get ready to raise it up in an arch with your partner across the aisle. Okay, you don't have to hold it up this whole time. When I gesture like this, it means get your arches up and ready to go. All right, a couple more words. I did eventually find my way back to a Unitarian Universalist sanctuary and found that there had been people keeping the door open for me all that time, keeping the chalice lit, literally and figuratively, and the buildings full of song. So Demetrius, Rowan, Celia, the mission of this church is to build community, seek inspiration, promote justice, and find peace. And my hope for you is that whether it's in a UU congregation, a temple, a sangha, a D&D group, a volleyball team, an improv crew, you will live that mission. May you find communities where you can be silly and serious and your most true self. May you spend time in places that feel holy, find practices that quiet your demons and sing to your inner voice. May your minds be clear, your hearts trustworthy, your bodies whole, your path unconstrained, and may you always be as loved and supported as you are today. You are a blessed child of this world, and we welcome you into the next chapter of your life. May it bring you every blessing imaginable. Go now in peace. I believe now we have a slideshow of images to prove that we really did know them when they were little. As we leave this friendly place, a song that sang these kids out of the sanctuary many times, and this one last time is particularly poignant. It's number 414 at the very back of the gray hymnal. And how many times will we sing it? Twice. We're going to sing it twice. Yeah. Oh, please stand if standing.
As we leave this friendly place, love give right to every face. May the kindness which we learn light our hearts till we return. As we leave this friendly place, love give light to every face. May the kindness which we learn light our hearts till we return.
We extinguish our chalice and close our time together today with these words written by UU poet and author Jean M. Olson. May you be brave enough to expose your aching woundedness and reveal your vulnerability. May you speak your deepest truths, knowing that they will change you as you do. May you sing the music within you, composing your own melody, playing your song with all your heart. May you draw, paint, sculpt, and sew, showing the world your vision. May you write letters, poetry, biography, slogans, graffiti, the great novel, laying bare your words to love and hate. May you love, even though your heart breaks again and again. And until the end of your days, may your life be filled with possibilities and courage.